Welcome, welcome! Hello everybody, it's great to be here. It's Monday, August 22nd. I just want you to know I rehearsed that 5 times before this thing went on. August 22nd, August 22nd. It is crazy weather throughout this country. Oh my goodness gracious. We feel very fortunate. Lots of flooding, but nothing for us. But boy, there's sure a lot of people displaced out of their homes, that's for sure. So look around. We are excited because what's coming up this Saturday is our sew-along. We've reached 20,000 on YouTube and we are celebrating and we are saying thank you. So we're going to have a free sew-along on Saturday. We're going to use 215 Nikki's top. We say free, but we're really going to ask you all to all pull together because later on this week we'll set up, we want to do a charity for the Officers Association, and we're going to donate to police officers throughout the country. Assist the Officer Fund. Assist the Officer Fund. We're just so very excited about this because you really have to think about what we want to ask of you is this is your way of saying thank you to us for the webcast, and for us it's our way of saying thank you to the officers, and we'll donate it all. 20,000 viewers. Come on, you all. We could, with $5, we could easily hit 100K on this. We really, really could. And we'll let you know. Everything will go to Assist the Officer Fund. We could make a big impact. The other day I'd heard that McDonald's had donated 20,000. I mean, come on, 20,000 from McDonald's? How chintzy is this? I was not impressed. We won't publish it anywhere on the site, but we'll let you all know how much we raise. So we really want to pull together and do well for the officers. Okay, so like I said, that'll go out Thursday. We'll actually send out an email on Thursday. We'll send out an email on Friday. You'll have way too many emails this week, and I'm sorry about that. We just got a lot going on, and we want to remind you of the webcast. So you'll get a normal email on Tuesday, and then one on Thursday. We'll announce the Assist the Officer Fund is starting. We'll run it through the 1st of September is what we'll do. So you'll have a week or so. And then we'll send out an email on Friday letting you know of the webcast. The webcast is on Saturday, the sew along. So for all of you who want to sew along, get that pattern 215 Nikki's top. Tonight we're focusing on 311, which is the POM for August, and I just had way too much fun doing all this stuff. So we'll start off traditionally in our format of questions and answers, and we have, if we have any. Okay, good, sounds good. All right, you answered a question about altering for maternity wear. Thanks. My next question is, would you ever make a horizontal dart at the tummy area like we do for a bigger behind? That's a really interesting. Obviously, it would not be in the final garment. I just want to tell everybody that. I would think so. I think that's pretty smart. It means you're thinking, ladies. That's a really exciting question. Probably so, because if you only slash vertically to spread to give circumference for that tummy, then it would have to hike up. And if you do a horizontal slash, it would give it that additional length. That's pretty smart. So yes, I would. As long as you promise me it's not in the final garment, it's only in the pattern making, I think great thinking. Very good. I obviously haven't done maternity wear. I mean, obviously for myself I did, but as a production line, I've never done maternity wear. So that makes a lot of sense. Very good. Thank you. What would I recommend using in lieu of a traditional dress form? That's a really good question because a dress form serves 2 purposes. We have a dress form sale going on right now, this dress form. It's a great form. I'm going to assume you simply don't want to buy a dress form because of price, because any other reason you'd buy a dress form. Dress forms don't take up a lot of space, they're accurate, and the dress form serves 2 purposes. I think the most important purpose is visual, because the visual, there's so many times where in classes people have brought me fabric and pattern together and they're not taking a step back for years I did fashion shows, and I mean way before I even had a pattern. I did fashion shows, and what I learned from fashion shows is it's the visual impact of being at a distance that is more important than being close up. And sometimes as sewers we have the fabric right in front of us, and we make decisions based on it being very close to us rather than taking a step back. So a hanger could do that. If you take and put things on a hanger and put it at a distance so you step back and look at it, sometimes when we take photos and after we look at the photos, we look at a photo and we say we don't like the way we look. Well, that's not good. Like, there's something in that photo that we're not taking into consideration that we should. So number one, I would use a hanger instead of a dress form for distance. And the second thing a dress form does is it helps us to fit. We can fit on ourselves. We don't need a dress form to fit. Some of you say it's easier. I'm not going to argue, but I'm going to tell you that I fit myself all the time, and I have dress forms, but I really don't use them to fit. I use myself because I'm more accurate than the form. So that's what I would suggest. A hanger and my own body. Those two things I would replace. One for visual, one for actual fit. Okay? Other than that, I'd buy a dress form and I'd bite the bullet. If you can't afford it, then go those two. Can we watch the sew along later? Can we donate and watch later? Yes, we'll film. We will record the webcast. Saturday, I believe it's 1 to 3. Is that correct? Sorry, we're just going to check, double check. 1 to 3 on Saturday? 1 to 3 this Saturday. That's Central Time, 1 to 3. We will record it. We will post it. We'll start the donations Thursday and we'll run them through Labor Day. So I think that's roughly a week. Yeah, I think it's roughly a week. We'll run it through like Monday or Tuesday. The 6th of September we'll cut it off. But we'll send out a final email on that morning, and then the next webcast we'll let everybody know what the amounts were, what was donated to assist the officer, all that kind of stuff. We're really excited. I mean, 20,000 people is not our goal. It's not as many as we want, but you got to realize that 20,000 people, it's a lot of people. And so it starts to give us a little bit of momentum and a little bit of movement. So we're very excited about that. On number 312, Giorgio's, if I need to do a sway back alteration, do I just do it between the two back pieces? No. Sway back by definition is when center back of the body is shorter than the side. So just because there's two pieces back there doesn't mean the sway back doesn't need to go to the side. When you're having a sweater set or when you have a one piece back there, you go to the side because that's where the seam is. Even though you have more seams, it still needs to go to the side. So go all the way through. The center back pieces, the side back piece, go all the way to the sides. Okay? How do you make a forward shoulder adjustment of pattern 112 Giorgio's? 312, what did I say, 212? Of 312, thank you, sorry. Of 312 Giorgio's. You still have a seam there. It's a kimono, but you still have a seam. You can add to the back and take away from the front. Very easy to do. You still have a seam. Shouldn't be any different than, you just don't have a sleeve, so it actually makes it a little bit simpler, but you still have the seam. Are you going to explain how to fit Nikki's top? For example, I need to add 1 inch to the shoulder length. Need to make the shoulder wider. I need to add 1 inch to the shoulder length. No, I'm not going to go over fit on Nikki's top. Fit on Nikki's top is exactly the same on 195. So it sounds like you're asking, am I going to? But it sounds like you're answering your own question that you know how to do those adjustments. So it's the same thing. We'll go through the process. You'll see it's really easy. The shoulder seams are still there. If you need to add to the front of one and take away, you can do that. If you need to make it wider, you know how to do that. So the sew along is a sew along, not a fit along. If there's questions that come up during the sewing that are some type of issue, I'll let you know. But again, as I answer questions on Nikki's top, a lot of you are making it much harder than it is. It's a very simple top to do. It looks complex. If there's a pattern out there that I want to do, and if it's too complex and I don't think the translation will be well will be effective once I get to the end result, which is you all, we won't put it out there. So everything we put out there, it may look complex, but the reality is it's very simple to do. I think many of us kind of stop before we go through the process. Okay, myself included in my own projects. I want to have a bottom band on my tank top pattern. Do I have to add seam allowance to the I want to have a button band on my tank top. Do I have to add seam allowance to the center front for the button band? Well, I guess I don't really understand. Is the button band vertical? If it's vertical, anywhere you cut a pattern apart and sew it back together, you've got to add seam allowance. I can probably answer your question without knowing exactly what you're doing, but if you are, there's rules of seam allowance, and then there are rules of buttons, and you've got to use both. So I'm not sure exactly what you're doing. It sounds like a pattern making question to me, which you all know I kind of shy away from. Basic pattern making is a DVD. You know what? I've got this book right here. I'm going to steal that blue book right there, if you don't mind. We had our spiffy meeting, and I think I brought this up last week because Pat was here. Anyway, we had a group of women. It was just a lot of fun. It really was. Hi, everybody out there. This is the book that I've referenced so many times, Flat Pattern Making by Norma Holland. Norma Holland, I used this textbook in college. I'm not sure what I still have my book. It was not this edition. This is the 3rd edition. I think I used the 6th edition. It doesn't make a difference. She's done an excellent, simple job of explaining pattern making. One of my professors in college was named Dr. Eleanor Jorgensen, and amazingly, Pat was in the class, had this book. I opened the book, and this book belonged to Dr. Eleanor Jorgensen. It even has the room. Probably most people wouldn't even understand what this was because this was the building and the classroom that we went to at college. This is just amazing to me that I have her book, her actual book now. Thanks to Pat. Pat gave it to me. She didn't even let me buy it from her. She gave it to me. But this book is what I did when I did my DVD basic pattern making. I took this book and did it on DVD. The reason being is this is such a simplistic and yet as complex as you need it to be way of pattern making. She had an excellent ability of making it simple. So this is on video. So that's what I put on video, and I think you all should know it. It doesn't mean you're going to make patterns. It means that you need to know the rules. I've said this over and over again, but you would have so much less question. You'd have such a greater understanding as you start to learn more. So I'd really encourage you to kind of go through that book, Flat Pattern Making by the Flat Pattern Method, Norma Holland. It's just a great book. All right, making limbs bias skirt with linen. I want to provide additional support for the front and back yoke. Should I underline or use fusible interfacing? When a fabric is on the bias, if it grows, fusible interfacing will not be enough. The fabric, in most cases, will overtake the fusible interfacing. Fusible interfacing does act as a support when it's on grain, but once you go to bias, it will not. So what I would recommend is, I'm not sure if you want to do this, but just as a thought, I would go through and cut the same exact piece that's on bias. I would cut it on straight to grain, and then I would sew them together. However, it will affect the drape, just so you know. It will affect the drape. Bias will never drape the same as straight to grain. Straight to grain will never drape the same as bias. So when you say you want to stabilize the edges, I don't know if you need to do that. The skirt, it's a great skirt. I stabilized the bottom with the hem. It's 3 inches wide all the way around. That was the reason it needed to be stabilized. I stabilized the top as well. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be, but just think of putting another layer in there. But most likely fusible interfacing won't do it. It will overpower the fusible. That's been my experience. All right, hopefully that helps. Okay, what do we need to do to have prepped and ready by Saturday? Well, if I were you all, I would make the garment. I would make the garment once through, like Friday I'm going to make the garment. I mean, I've made the garment several times, but if I were you, I would struggle through. I say struggle because I don't think it's really a struggle, but I would go through the directions and then I would wait for Saturday to be an answer and a question answer to the problems that you come across. If you have no problems, then Saturday is going to be a walk in the park, and that's what it should be for you all. But I think you're always better prepared when you actually go to make the top and then you just watch me make it. That way maybe I'm shortcutting some of the things you did, but you'll have a clearer vision as to what I'm going to do on Saturday if you've made the top before that. And we've shipped a lot of this pattern, so if I were you all, I would make it. I would do it beforehand. I think that's the best way to prepare, personally. Okay? Put it on, wear it. If you have any questions about the fit or anything, I'd much rather have a prepared audience than y'all not doing anything and then try to answer the questions after the fact. I think it's a much better way to go. Okay? Okay, good. Done with questions? Very good. So tonight, we've had this kind of webcast on hold now for a couple weeks because we're doing 311, which is Victoria's top August pattern of the month, because we kind of took a little side rail and I really wanted to focus on pant fitting. I really felt like, especially going into fall, pant fitting was really important. When we were in the spiffy meetings, we had lots of pants. We had lots of conversation about pants. So it just came up that some of the ladies were staying, and I had this harebrained idea that we should bring the ladies to this room, my house, our webcast room, and drape the pants live, and it really turned out well. Y'all have much accolades. Again, I can't say enough to the women, because they kind of took their time out and came over here. So thanks. It was priceless. And the most common response I got was, you did the same to all of them. Oh gosh, I've been telling you that for years. And then I think it was Francine or one of the ladies said to me, I went back and watched a webcast from 3 years ago, and she said, you said the same thing then. Yes, I did. I've been saying the same thing actually for 30 years. So it really becomes much simpler, and again, our feedback has been, oh, I finally get it, I got my pants, I figured out what was wrong. There's really been a lot of clarity from that webcast. So doing that, it was the opportunity we had to do it because we had the bodies just sitting there, push this back to now. So we're going to pick up where we were a couple weeks ago. I've done 4 different versions of 311. I have one that I did not do. I'm going to explain to you because it's very simple and I think it's a great look, and it's our first one. It's our simplest one. The other 4 they're all simple. You know, when I say simple, I think what I mean is how much time is put into it. I think time equates sometimes different levels of difficulty. If it takes more time, is it more difficult? I don't think so. I think it just takes more time. But that's kind of how I've sorted them, is which ones take more time and which ones are a little bit easier. So the very first thing I want to point out is this version in a vest. I've seen it all over the place. You simply leave off the sleeve, you use the front, the back, the front band, and the collar. You use those 4 pieces and you make it longer and you put a zipper up the front. So you want to cut it about 10 inches longer, that's relative, but about 10 inches longer. Put a zipper up the front, and don't have the zipper go the whole way, only put it from below the crotch to below the bust. So there's about an 18-inch span there, that's where you want that zipper to go. And if you're doing a black band, use a black zipper, and it's real simple to create a vest. It's a great look, it's knit, it's a great travel garment, and for fall that vest is going to be absolutely fabulous. Okay, then what I wanted to do is use the same pieces but change them up a little bit. The easiest one I did is this one right here. I want to make sure you all know about our webcast page. Every time after the webcast we build a webcast page. A lot of time if you all go directly to YouTube, you will not see that that page that we build. and there's nothing wrong. We just doesn't matter to us. But when the reason we build that webcast page is it has all the fabrics, it has all the information, so that you won't say to me, what fabric is that? What fabric is that? It's all on the webcast page. The notions, the everything we use, the pattern numbers, the fabrics, and the notions. And then what specials are going that relate to that, etc., etc. It's all on that page. So afterwards, like I said, we'll put that up and we'll build it. So this is pattern number 311. This is a new fabric we have. We just put it up today. It is a poly, but I'm telling you, it's like no poly I've ever felt. It's amazing how great the polys are getting. And keep in mind that when you look at a fabric like Wickaway, it's 100% polyesters. So you guys cannot stay in this frame of mind that polyesters are hot. They're not. They're evolving, they're changing, and it's really a good time to try something different. So what I did with this is I'm changing up sizing. And I realized something at Spiffy that I say a lot. I say just go down a size or just go up a size. I'm not literal on that. It just means you've got to go down, get a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. I say the phrase go down a size, go up a size, but I don't literally mean one size. You guys have to be the judge as to how much you have to go down or how much you have to go up. In this particular case, I wanted this to be a pullover, and I did. It's a V-neck pullover. So I took the front band and I decided, instead of it overlapping, which is what it should do when it is the size that's appropriate, I made it a little bit bigger so that smaller, I'm sorry, so that these bands could just touch in the middle. And then as I put them together, I left the bottom open and I sewed them together all the way up to, I went like 7 inches down from the edge of the collar. So I measured 7-8 inches down, wherever you want to stop. I sewed them together, and then I sewed the bottom band closed, and I went ahead and sewed them to the appropriate sides. So I know you can't see it because I made it all the same color, but the two bands are here and they're just butted together and stitched together, so you get a little V-neck, and it's a pullover, and it's adorable. Then what I did to the sides is I wanted you to see that there's like a little bow and tie on the sides. So there's 10 grommets, and I took the grommets and I did them, and we're going to get the camera here a little bit closer for you so you can see. That's all done on the side. So there's grommets, and the grommets are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then the ribbon goes, I'm going to kind of put my hand behind there, so can you see those grommets? I completely finished the top, and then I put ribbon through there. The ribbon is about 1.5 inches wide, and I just went through all the grommets and then tied a bow at the bottom. You can obviously do it in contrasting colors. I did it black just because I wanted it to be a feature, but not really, really strong. But the grommets are very, very easy to do. These are the large grommets. There's a little tool. You just cut a little hole and bam, whack with a hammer, and you can see those grommets. Okay, very simple to do, very easy. So I made it a pullover, and then I added a little tie on the side. But again, I could do so many different colors. I could do on both sides if I wanted to. I like the asymmetric, so I only did it on the one side. Okay, the next one I want to show you is we cut in pieces. And we cut in pieces. We did not just the front, but we did the band also, the sleeves as well. So the whole thing's cut into pieces. In this particular case, again, I used a larger size so that I could get the bands to come together, and instead what I did is I put a zipper up the front and made it a little cardigan. So all I have to do here is decide my 3 fabrics that I want to use. This was a black pontoroma, a gray pontoroma, and then we have this pontoroma that's kind of checkered. I don't know the name of the fabric, but you can see again it's on the site. Alright, so what you're going to do here, the collar and the band are both black. I'm using a little bigger size because normally these front bands are supposed to wrap over one another, and because they're not, I'm just going to a larger size. And what you can do is measure one of the bands, the width of it, and I need one more band additional in circumference. So basically I'm gonna need 3 more inches, whatever size that takes me to so that these bands don't have to cross. Okay? And actually this little jacket is adorable on. I didn't really use the stretch. I mean, I did. Puntorama doesn't have that much stretch in it, and I love this on. It's just really adorable. So I did the top piece 7 inches, 9 inches, and 10 inches. So do it smaller, bigger, and bigger. Or you can take the 3 and you can divide equally if you want to. But to get the proportions right, you want to just think about where you're cutting. Be sure you're not cutting through the bust point. Be sure you're cutting above. And it doesn't matter where you cut here. I actually cut right through the dart and sewed it back up, and it really worked easily. And you want to make sure that you're doing the front, the back the same. What I did is I used like the notch as one point because I knew where it was on the sleeve, I knew where it was on the front, and I knew where it was on the back, and that was a really easy place to divide everything by. So the notch was one place I used for the top. And then I just did the bottom 10 inches, and I measured up from the bottom 10 inches, put the sleeve down so you can see where it falls with the sleeve. And if you cut the sleeve a little bit extra long and you screw up where it aligns, you can know that you can adjust it and then recut the sleeve to be the right length. So give yourself a little extra on the sleeve, and that'll give you a little error factor, and the middle portion, the gray portion, will just fall into place. So mine matches all the way around, the front, the back, and the sleeve. So no matter if you see me from the front, the side, or the back, it all coordinates together. The black band in the middle just really gives you a nice vertical line rather than it being horizontal, even though you're basically color blocking. But this color blocking here in the middle really adds a nice vertical movement to it. Same with the collar. It pulls it up to the face. One little black separating zipper and you're good to go. Alright, any questions on that? We'll take questions on the first two, either one. No, if the bands are supposed to overlap and now you're going to not have them overlap, yes, you'd use a smaller size. Yes, sorry, I went the wrong way. You'd use a smaller size because you've got the addition of the bands. Thank you, I said it just backwards. Thanks for that clarification, you guys. Yeah, perfect. Everything else is okay? Oh good, yeah, it's cute. It's just really cute. And you can do it with any colors. Just get your 3 colors that you like to go together, and keep in mind that you want to put the lightest at the top and then the medium and then have the darker color below. I used black panorama because gosh, if I wear it with any of my yoga pants, it really gives a much taller look by having the gradation work to where you have black on the bottom. But you can see if I wanted to do it still for summer and wanted to bring in something like that, you know, any 3 colors you can really work well with. I love the fact that it's a cardigan because if I wanted to I could wear it open and still proceed that way. Okay, easy enough. I would copy the pattern, cut it, and anywhere you cut it be sure you add seam allowance before you sew it back together, and you won't change the sizing or the length or anything. Okay? Does the zipper go to the collar? No, I didn't take it all the way to the collar. The collar's all the way up here, and it's only an 18-inch zipper. So I just started at the bottom and knew I wasn't going to zip it all the way up anyway, so it zips up plenty far, but just 18 inches. Okay? Alright. So then what we're going to do is we're going to make a vest. This is a great little one to use as a vest. I used the same size that I would normally because my bands in this case are crossing. I used the same fabric everywhere. It's all one piece, but what I did do is I made a really little, I love this little cap sleeve, and if you notice it doesn't even go to the bottom. It's just a cap. So what I did is on the pattern I just went to the notch on both sides, and that was the sleeve pattern that I used, was just that portion. And again, notice that it doesn't even sew to the bottom of the sleeve, and so it's just an adorable little vest. French dart, same. Now what I did, I didn't change the upper body at all. This is the peplum, and I'm going to show you how I decided how much to add. I was copying off a garment, so I had a garment that had the same collar, same band down the front. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought, that's my garment. I was shopping, but I just love this little peplum. It's current, it's trendy. With leggings, with yoga pants, either one, it will look it's very flattering. You all know that peplum look is really coming back in. Alright, so my sleeve is done. I didn't make any changes to the collar or the front band. All I changed was the front and the back. So the first thing you have to do is decide how much fullness do you want, and I would recommend that it's from the waist down. Don't add anything to the waist or above. You want it just from the waist down. That waist needs to be snug on you, so I had made one before and I knew how it fit. I only wanted the fullness from the waist down. You're going to measure your waist and you're going to add 1 to 1.5. So basically, if I'm going to use my numbers were 14 or 28, doesn't really matter. 14 was the front, 14 was the back. I'm going to make the bottom 21 or 42. So I want a nice little peplum, 1 to 1.5. Okay? So what that will do is it will give me the amount to add. So this is the back, and you can see all of this is the same. You notice it's down at my waist where the fullness starts to come in, and you can see there's my fullness, and I added fullness. The back is normally on the fold. I made a seam because I needed to add fullness. Only adding fullness in 2 places is really not enough, so I added it at the center, the middle, and the side. And so on top is the old pattern, and you can see on the underneath is the newer one. Alright, now the right way to add fullness, just again going back to pattern making, is don't draw out from the side, because then the hem will not be even. What you have to do is slash to a pivot point, slash to a pivot point, and slash to a pivot point, and then pull them out. And I put in 2 inches, 2.5 inches in each of those 3 spaces. So if you look at this piece, for instance, and I know you can't really see it close up, but this piece right here is the actual pattern that I pulled out, so the wedge was put in here. And the reason you do that is because it will keep the hem straight rather than just drawing onto the side. If you just draw onto the side, you won't know where to quit and you won't know where to make that seam straight. But by slashing up in here and pulling this out, it will keep that hem straight for you, and that's important. Okay? Alright, so then I did the exact same thing on the front. Again, your only time constraints in this are actually tracing the pattern, figuring out how much you're going to add, where you're going to add. My waist is about here, so I used my French dart as one of my pivot points. So on the side I slashed up to here, opened that out. It looks weird, but it's all good. You can see that there's like weird space in here, but when you went to sew it, it was no different. Here I came to the French dart also, and here I came to center front where the band is going to sew on. So again, I had 3 places. Each of those places I added 2.5 inches, and that gave me the fullness of this peplum. I love this. I mean, I don't know if it looks as good on, but it's adorable. I mean, on the mannequin, but it's adorable on. It's just really, really cute. Again, because I wanted it to kind of have a vest effect, I left the top open. Underneath is Chanel's top, number 116. I just love the color contrast, so that's why I used it. Also, I wanted to show you that I overlapped it with big buttons. I wanted it to be very dramatic. And then what I did is underneath, when you use really big buttons, what you don't want to do is you don't want to use buttonholes, because buttonholes just get to be too big and they get to be too sloppy. They don't hold something firm in place. So many times Michael Kors, lots of designers will put these snaps behind. And we have these snaps on the site. They're big snaps, so even if you decide to wear this open, these snaps look really great underneath. So the base is usually sewn on here, the whole part, and then the less sightly pretty part is sewn on under the button. It's the flatter part of the snap. And the way you're going to do that is you got to sew on the button first, because if you sew on the snap first, you can't get the needle through the snap to sew on the button. So you sew on the button first. It goes through the middle. just repeatedly. And then when you sew on the snap, you're circling around the edge of the snap, and you can sew both on top of one another. Okay? Can we see it? Do you want me to? I can take it off. Let's take it off. Okay, let's take this off so you can get a little bit of a close-up. Alright, so there's the buttons. And then on the back side of the buttons, you're going to sew on those snaps, and you're going to sew around the snaps. So sew the button on first, and then around the snaps. And you'll get it. You just, because if you sew the button on first, you're going to have to take the button, if you sew the button on last, you're going to have to take the snap off because you can't get the button on. So just an FYI. But anyway, cute, adorable, pull it together. It's a great little vest for anything you want to throw on. And I made mine a little bit longer just so it'd have a little bit of flare when I came to leggings. Alright, are we okay with that? Oh, can we pivot to what I'm wearing? You guys, we had a little, this is like one of my favorite tops. And for fall, we did a little fall options because there's two trends that are really big for fall, so we put a little, well, there's several, but there's two that are really striking right now, so we put a little fall option in there. 112 Casey's 5-way top. These wraps, this is 112, this is it, but these wraps that have multiple ways of wearing them are really, really popular. We've had this pattern for a while. It's not a new pattern, but 112, it's a great make, it's a great go-to find, and it's really quick and easy. So that one and pattern number 900, we put them both together because jean jackets still are everywhere. They're just not, it's interesting to me to find a trend that still stays strong, but they're doing them in all kinds of different fabrics, and they just look great. Even with leggings, they're wearing long shirts and a short jean jacket, so it really gives a nice little layered look. But I don't care what the age, they're really flattering. They're not, I'm not going to say they're not young looking, but easily us old ladies can still wear these and look really, really, appropriate but not outdated or inappropriate. So we can wear leggings, a long top like 195 just done long, and then the jean jacket done short with it. It's just a really cute look. Okay? Alright, so the last idea I have is one I want to share with you because I saw it in Neiman Marcus, and I talked to the sales lady about this idea for quite a while, and because I wanted to know how it was selling, how it was doing. The name is Veronica Beard. So Veronica Beard are two women who both of their names were Veronica, and they married brothers. So both of their names ended up being Veronica Beard. So they both, I guess, decided to be designers or go into business together because Veronica Beard is the name of the line, but there's actually two of them. And their claim to fame is these detachable Dickies, I guess I'm going to call them. Now the reason I want you to know the name, I'm going to kind of pull this up a little bit so we can focus on it. I want you to know the name is because what these are, now this is 311, I made it a little bit smaller so that there would have a little gap in here, like a little jacket, as an over jacket. I didn't make any changes to the pattern. Sleeve, front, back, collar, all I did was change out the colors of the pieces. So I did two colors rather than just one. But what is different, and again, this is all in this pattern line, the reason this clothing line, the reason I'm telling you about it is because you can go on and get great ideas as to all the different things that you're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to look closely inside, and we're going to see that this whole section, this is actually 115, Anne's top. When you go to put it on, you're going to measure from the seam to the seam as to like how much you want your particular jacket to be open. So once you measure from seam to seam and you know like that for instance is 8 inches, you're only going to cut out 8 inches of this top. So this is Anne's top. I've only cut out 8 inches, and you put zippers in the garment. Half of the zipper goes underneath here, the other half goes under here, and this piece is completely removable. All right, so you're not going to see the zippers because the zippers are sewn in inside. They're sewn flat. This Anne's top, though, goes around the neck and comes off. Whoops. I'm not sure why that's not coming off. Anyway, around the top. So when you're talking about making Anne's top, that's all it is. It's just 4 inches wide, twice, which is your 8 inches. No back, it's just the collar sewn onto the front, and then again the zippers put on the edges to make the band. And when you put it on, because this is all knit, for instance, like I just pulled the whole thing over my head. So when I saw this, I thought, oh my gosh, like somebody's really doing this and it's really selling, and you have to start really thinking about all the wonderful ramifications. So that's kind of what I want to talk about for a little bit. Because number one, I used scraps to make this little top because I don't have any of this fabric, but this has got a little purple color in it and I wanted a purple. So I literally had like a scrap of fabric and that's what I used to make this. There's no back, it's a third of the garment basically. Also, you think about the dry cleaning, just the less wash, the less cleaning, it's much more reduced than if you were to make a whole top. The time it took me to make this versus again making the whole top it's fair to say at least half. It's going to take you some time to figure it all out, to figure the width it needs to be and where the zippers need to go. That did take me time. But now once I finished this, what I did is I made a tank top. And the tank top, there's my tank top, it matches the band of this shirt. So now what I can do is I can just zip in my tank top. And gosh, I guess I could even zip it in while I was, traveling on vacation or, wherever I wanted to be, that I could quickly zip a top in. Let me get this. These all have to be separating zippers, and I'm going to give you a couple hints to where it really makes it much easier. There's that side, then that goes to the inside. There are, in Veronica Beard, because I was in Neiman Marcus, there's little snaps, and those little snaps actually take the top of the piece and snap it into the shoulder seam so that those pieces don't come down on you. So just right at the very top, there's little snaps, and if you get a chance, if you go to do it and get a chance, watch the construction of those little pieces. Okay, this piece I'm gonna do this side. The other, I'm going to give you a couple little tips on doing this. I'm going to sew that in, and so you can see that now what I did is I've transferred this from having this top to this top, and this was what I cut. All I did was cut, this is my tank top pattern. So you can see this is my front. I only cut it, I only wanted it 3 inches wide, so mine's a little bit narrower. And this isn't even to the shoulder because it didn't need to go to the shoulder. The zipper's on this whole side and it holds it in without any problem. So now I've got a matching tank that matches my jacket, and if I wanted to go out that, you get it. I mean, it's just remarkable the ideas that are coming. Now what they did is they attached everything into a princess seam. So this becomes a princess seam simply because I made it just a little bit smaller and those seams move across. If you use, most women are 4 inches from bust point to bust point, so 4 inches is a pretty good standard of what everybody could use and still have it work. So that would be my recommendation. When you go to put the zipper in, and the very first zipper you use, put one side on this and the opposite side on this, so that every time you go to make a new piece, you only use one zipper, and it will tie into the base that's right here. So I used one zipper here, one zipper for the tank, and one zipper for Anne's top, because the sides are kept relatively, relative to the side they were on. Alright, so I was just flabbergasted by this. Again, if you go into Veronica Beard and if you look at, or even go online and look at the price points, like this little piece of fabric right here, this little tank that I just showed you, is like $75 to $150 to $250. There's little leather accessories. There's all kinds of ideas for all these little things that you can change out. I mean, as many as they offer, you guys, the sky is the limit, but I just thought I had to present this to you all. This was the perfect top to do it. I could wear it open as a cardigan. I can switch all these pieces out. You all have many of these patterns, so you could just make them, and there you go. You take out one, you put in the next. Pretty fun, huh? You're exactly. You can spill, you can slobber all over yourself. And so what if you threw it away? I mean, it's this much fabric. And all I did with the tank was I serged all around the piece. I finished the neck edge, I tucked under and top stitched it. I finished the hem, I tucked under and top stitched, and put a zipper on this side, a zipper on this side. I mean, if you think it took me 10 minutes, you know, I had a brand new top to go with my jacket. So it is an incredible idea, but I think more than anything, I just want you to be aware of what's out there. And the price points, you know, whenever we talk about sewing and can we save money, and, you know, we can over and over again. It's important to be out there. It's important to get the ideas. So that's my job, I feel like, is to get the ideas and bring them back to you, because I love shopping. So anyway, this was really a fun thing. And because I was so surprised to see it, I had at least a 30-minute conversation with the lady at Neiman's, and I told her, I said, look, I'm not going to buy any of this. I'm a pattern maker, and I'm just fascinated with this idea. And that's when she started opening up about how well they were doing and how much women liked them, because even though they were $100 or $200, they were still cheaper than if they bought the whole garment. They didn't have to dry clean it, and they didn't have to, you know, I thought, oh my gosh, just hopefully nobody asks you to take off your jacket for any reason, because you can't. But anyway, you know, I was thinking, my mind went to security when you go through the airport. I'm sorry, ma'am, but can you remove your jacket? Well, nope, sorry, sure can't. So I'm sure there'll be a few little funny things like that you run into, but anyway, that's just a crazy, crazy little idea for you. All right, so that's all I have. You'll have plenty of time to practice these. We can wrap up. We can answer any questions you have. We've got a few minutes left. If you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. No, that's okay. No. We can wrap up early tonight. My guys won't mind going home early. Oh, that's a great question. Do the Dickies count for 25 limits? For 25 in your wardrobe, do they count for the limit? I'm going to say no, because you could have a pile, you could have 20 Dickies and have it only on one hanger, right? So we're going to say no. It voids the having to get under 25. You can bet I'm going to have Dickies this fall. Peggy, what fabric did you use on the 5-way top? This is the there's a couple of wool knits we have online. There's a purple, there's a black, there's a gray, there's some beautiful ones. It's in that family. It's in that same family. It's a cashmere, or not a cashmere, but a wool blend. Too funny. Does it count for the 25 rule? You guys, I should show you my wardrobe next time. I have blown past 25. I think I blew past it the day after that webcast. Just an FYI. But you know what I love about the 25 is it was so simple. It's getting more complex. Oh, do I wear that? You know, I'm telling you that 25 is a great rule, because it simplifies. And when you get more, it starts to get complex, and it's gotten complex again. So I'm going to get down to my 25. I'm not this week, but you know, pretty soon I'm going to get back to my 25. But y'all know I kind of like clothes. Have y'all figured that out? Yeah, I kind of like clothes. Can you clarify how to attach the front band? The instructions are confusing. The front picture shows top stitching. How to attach the front band of this is just right. This is folded in half. It's right sides together. You just sew the collar goes on first. You sew front to back of the shoulder seam. Collar goes on, and then the band goes all the way up to the collar. So you can wear it like that if you want. Just right sides together. I a lot of times will top stitch the seam toward the side seam, just because I think it gives it a little more finished look. but very simple to do. So we'll have to make sure we put the correct half of the zipper on the sides of the tank dicky. I noticed you had to reach beneath to unzip. Is there a reason? No, it doesn't matter which side if you take one zipper, you can only do one side here and one side there. You can't screw that up. You just have to make sure when you do the next one that you put the right side to the right side so that they'll zip up. It won't be upside down. The first zipper is not the problem. It's the second zipper that's the problem that you have to be careful of. But no, I can just reach in and zip this down. I love that. I think it's too cute. What is the difference between Ralph's and Sally's pants? Sally's pant is our more traditional pant. It is a waisted pant, even though it doesn't have to go to the waist, but it's a waisted traditional, I think I want to call it more of a slack, although that word doesn't really mean anything, as I've learned. Ralph's pant is, so Sally's pant has a really thin waistband. It was an Armani pant that I copied, but again, basically to the waist, thin waistband, etc., etc. Ralph's pant is a lowered waisted pant. It's a contoured band. It's a thinner leg and a fuller hem. So it's definitely the more it's definitely a more updated version of Sally's, but Sally's is traditional. I wear Sally's all the time. It's traditional, it's classic, it's just a great slack. Ralph's is just a little more contemporary, lower, contoured waist, shaped. Ralph was a Ralph Lauren. What is the base? What is the base of the POM? Oh no, the base, I'm sorry, the base of the POM, 195. It's a knit, so it would be in the 195 family. Same sleeve, 195, same armhole, everything. Please discuss the collar application on 311. No guys, it's way too easy. Just go follow the pattern. It's just way too easy. My explaining it would be more confusing than just reading the guide. It's that easy. All you have to do is follow the guide sheet. I actually hadn't made it in a while when I was starting to sew all these, and I followed the guide sheet, and it's just clear. Is Peplum jacket a wool? Yes, this is, I'll push this back. The Peplum, this is actually a little vest, but I know you're talking about this one. This is a wool knit. It's the charcoal gray. It's listed on the, it's going to be listed on the page, and it's listed on the site. And it is a wool, and it's a knit, and it's wonderful. It's really nice. And for many of you who don't like wool next to your skin, I purposely used it as a vest, so you could put something under it and it wouldn't even touch you. It's very nice. Very nice. Is the Dickey jacket a navy collar? No, it's the black. It's a black, it's that Pontoroma waffle kind of print. And again, I know it's hard to see. We'll have it up after the website. After the webcast. We'll have all those fabrics up because I used a lot of fabrics this time. We'll have all those fabrics up on that page. How far inside the jacket do you add the zippers? Can you show inside the jacket, please? Yeah, you can go. You can go as far as you want. But what I would recommend is that you not go too much farther than the bust point, 8 inches. Because what happens then is that's why you need darts. The body starts to change lengths and change, darts are needed. So stick this between the darts, and then you won't need, you're just cutting that center piece. That's why the width, I only used actually 6 inches. I only did 3 inches on each side. So my piece across, this is only 6 inches rather than 8 inches. 6 inches was enough. For me, I'd rather have it be on the inside of the jacket opening rather than have it be on the outside, so 6 for me was enough. Depends again on your size or how far open you want to wear your jacket, but I wanted it to be closer together. It also holds your jacket from opening, so you don't need any kind of closure. You could put closures of any kind if you wanted to. How do you adjust raglan sleeves when the neck to bust distance on the garment is too long? Are you referring to a silhouette pattern? Let me know a pattern number. That's right. Well, no, it's not 4 inches from center front because the jacket is worn open. So the jacket doesn't have a center front anymore. So that's why you have to put it on and figure out how wide you want it, and then measure over, and then all I did was top stitch the zipper right on. Now there's a seam right there, so you can't see the stitching. It's just hidden into it. But you can't do it from center front because that's supposing the jacket would be closed. That's why the jacket has to be open. That's why it takes a little bit of kind of finagling. I'd make the jacket first, make it smaller than you want it to be, but figure out how much you want it open. My opening here was like 3 inches, so I went smaller 3 inches so that it was open. And then you can figure out on you how far the zippers would go. It's a little trial and error. I used all the zippers we have on the site. They're 18-inch separating zippers. But I did notice with Veronica Beard, they're using a very light, they have to be separating zippers, obviously, but they're using a really light one. And I actually went even to a fabric store to see if I could find a lighter one. They didn't have any lighter ones, so I just used the metal ones. I didn't see any negative of it. It's all up to you guys, what you have in your stash. Since the base is $195, then all of my adjustments may be transferred. Yes, correct. For the color block jacket, can pockets be added? Yes, thank you for asking that. I would have added pockets, but you know what? Pockets would be adorable right in here, little zipper pockets. And I'm tempted to go back and do it because I just love this jacket. But yet, I think I saw this. I can't remember where the original was. I want to say it's Boston proper. But there was a little zipper here and a little zipper here. There was actually a little zipper here and a little zipper there too, but I think that's a little overkill. But I think little pockets, if you really like them, would look really nice. They're little zippered pockets. All right, are we good? One more. All right, one more. We're going to see you Saturday, you guys. We're going to see you Saturday with our sew along. We're so excited. We're just really, really excited. We're really excited and thank all of you. 20,000 people, that's just a lot of people. Okay, one more. How far up from the hem of the jacket does the zipper start? It's kind of your call. It's really your call. You have to kind of decide the look you want because this top could be as long as that jacket. It's totally up to you where you put those zippers. You just have to know that I could have the top be longer, like my purple one was longer. I just started the zipper farther up on the purple. So you can change the lengths because of where you place the bottom of the zipper. So all of that, once you get it and once you kind of get all the balancing going, you can see there's lots of variables. There's not any reason why I couldn't make it longer either. I could make a top longer, just the zippers have to be farther up where they hook into the main garment. And then at the top here, you just want to use a little snap to hold the top portion in place so it doesn't cave in. And these little snaps are amazing. All right? That's all the ideas I have. My head is busting. Hopefully yours is too. That's been fun. 311, it's such a versatile little basic. I mean, initially when I came out with this pattern, it was just incredible how good it was, how many things you could do with the band, the collar, how quick it was to sew together. You'll have a very easy time with this. It will fit very well, and you can obviously make a lot of different things with it. So have fun with it, you guys. And the goal really is to get a lot of different looks out of one pattern so your sewing gets faster and faster. The goal is to make garments, not sit in your sewing room all day. All right? All right, so we will see you on Saturday. Any other questions? Are we okay? Okay, we'll see you on Saturday, 1 to 3. That is Central Time. I think we're still in Daylight Time, aren't we? Central Daylight Time. Around the world, everybody, hello. We've got, gosh, new people joining in Switzerland and everywhere. Anyway, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on Saturday. All right, good night. Happy sewing.